to conflict in Israel.
This is one of the biggest demonstrations I've ever seen inside any of the House office buildings. They have demonstrations here regularly. I might note that there were some disruptions this morning during the confirmation hearing of Jack Lew to be the U.S. ambassador to Israel. These were people saying that there was a genocide being committed by the Israelis in Gaza right now.
Fox's Chad Pergram. Meantime, Hamas is still claiming that Israel is responsible for a deadly hospital explosion in Gaza.
There's artillery fire going into the Gaza Strip, some rockets coming out. But frankly, the pace really seems to have slowed tonight with a little flurry at dusk. It seems the most prominent job of the Israeli Defense Force right now is countering this narrative that it was Israel's responsibility, that explosion at the Al Ahli hospital.
Fox's Mike Tobin in southern Israel. Congressman Jim Jordan falling short again of the votes needed to become the new Speaker of the House. 22 Republican detractors in this second round of voting, including Florida's Mario Diaz-Balart.
I'm very optimistic. I'm a happy warrior. I'm a conservative Republican who wants to move forward. And hopefully we can, behind somebody that we unify.
The House in recess, but Congressman Jordan has vowed to continue to pursue the speakership. An attorney for the victims of alleged Long Island serial killer Rex Heuermann presenting new evidence.
We obtained from these two affidavits. Their names will go unmentioned. Their names are blotted out of the affidavits.
Attorney John Ray says new information could connect Heuermann to other murders in Gilgo Beach, including Shannon Gilbert. A rough session on Wall Street. The Dow dropping 332 points while the S&P falls 59 and the Nasdaq dropping 219 points today. America's listening to Fox News.
The best way to stop Joe Biden's agenda is to opt out of his inflation game by diversifying your savings into gold. I'm Dr. Ron Paul, and this is why I recommend a gold IRA from Birch Gold Group. To learn more, text the word SHELTER to 989898 to get a free info kit on gold. Birch Gold is the only gold company I trust. So text SHELTER to 989898 right now.
Paid for by Birch Gold Group.
Did you know you can get your prescriptions for less at your local pharmacy? You can with GoodRx. It's the free app that can save you money on your medications. Just search for your prescription, choose the pharmacy and the price that works best for you, and then show your GoodRx coupon to your pharmacist at the drop-off counter. GoodRx works at over 70,000 pharmacies, including Walmart, Rite Aid, and Walgreens, and it works whether you have insurance or not. It's easy to save. Next time you drop off your prescription, check GoodRx. To start saving today, go to GoodRx.com. GoodRx is not insurance.
Italy has announced it will suspend an open border agreement with neighboring Slovenia, citing an increased threat of terrorism in Europe brought on by violence in the Middle East. The controls will take effect on Saturday for 10 days. Officials say at least 16,000 people have illegally entered Italy at the Slovenian border so far this year. Ukraine using its American-made long-range missiles for the first time.
The weapons have proven themselves, says President Volodymyr Zelensky. Ukraine putting into use the sought-after ATACMS missile made in and supplied by the United States. We're told ATACMS were used to hit 2 Russian air bases in occupied parts of Ukraine. The US finally agreed to send the weapons after Kyiv promised not to use them on targets in Russia itself. Russia says the US decision to supply Ukraine with these long-range weapons is a grave mistake which will have serious consequences. Jonathan Savage, Fox News.
American families are seeing a surge in wealth in the years after the COVID lockdowns.
Household net worth soared in the years after COVID struck, with widespread gains across both rich and poor families, fueled by unprecedented government stimulus during the pandemic. Rising home and stock prices that far surpassed inflation also in part helped support the increases. U.S. families' wealth climbed 37% from 2019 to 2022 to nearly $193,000, according to the Federal Reserve Survey of Consumer Finances. That was the largest 3-year increase since the survey began back in 1989. African-American families saw the largest gains, rising 60%, but still their net worth remained below other racial and ethnic groups. Hillary Barsky, Fox News.
Another look at Wall Street, a rough Wednesday as the Dow drops nearly 333 points while the Nasdaq dips 219, S&P falling by nearly 59 points. I'm Matt Napolitano. This is Fox News.
Ignition sequence start. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, liftoff.
Check. I literally just create madness.
Well, they're up.
I'm going to go off here.
They don't have a great quarterback.
I got to take a break. I'm getting in trouble.
To win the Big Ten, you first got to win the West.
Bad Bunny. Have you heard his name in a while?
No.
Has it bothered you?
No. Defensively, they got to come in with some confidence.
Is that even analytics?
I'm in a parking garage, kind of lost.
Terrence Shannon, Matthew Meyer, R.J. Melendez, Coleman Hawkins.
These trophy presentations aren't over.
I didn't come here to go 5-7.
I'm so proud of Illinois football right now. I'm so tired of Joel Embiid.
We're not taking Patrick Corbin.
I want to bet the Bears.
Oh.
You are Reba McEntire's niece.
Roshan Russell.
Coach Bielma.
You no longer salute to yourself.
What?
We got all kinds of things for you here.
There's a lot of glass.
Oh.
Guys, we have breaking news.
Uh-oh.
It's The Drive.
Smack Dogs.
Thunderstruck. Yeah, Thunderstruck.
Hey, what's up? It's The Drive with Sam Piper, ESPN Radio 93.5. Derek Piper, Lante, Kyle Tosk.
Yo.
How you fellas doing?
I'm actually here. Sorry.
Good. Good.
I see that James Harden didn't show up for Sixers practice. Do I have to go through that crap for another year?
Can
the
maybe
Sixers,
for just another few weeks.
Can we be relegated? Like, as a fan, I am pushing for them to be relegated. They are that team is the most competitive team of late that drives you nuts of any professional sports team. They have the MVP and Joel Embiid. They've got James Harden. They had Doc Rivers, right? I mean, they had all these things that you're like, oh, maybe they can win this championship. And every year, of course, they fall short. And now this year, the Celtics go out and add 2 studs to the team. So we couldn't beat them before this. And I'm like, and I'm such an outside NBA guy. It's the one league that I pay attention to because I like the stars. But it's just a league that, like, if the Sixers win, great. But what's funny about it, which shows I still have some heart, is when they get to the playoffs or they don't do well, I get fired up still. So it shows that it's still in me somewhere. But I'm just like, right off the bat, James Harden is not going to show up for practice because he wants to be traded probably or –
Definitely. He says he won't play for Daryl Morey ever again.
Okay.
What's interesting there is, like,
how about score more than 4 points in a playoff game, James?
Yeah. He's had some playoff duds for sure. It's a
boring.
window here with Joel Embiid.
It is.
That they got to take advantage of.
I wanted him to trade him. And the only reason I say this is I'm still sane somewhat. Now, people might show up at any moment with a white coat and say, let's go. The only reason I like Joel Embiid, and I think he's a stud, he obviously is a stud, but you're not going to win with him. We don't have enough around him. So just trade him now while you can, and then there again, though, this would be like the 10th rebuild in the last 12 years.
Trust the process all over again.
What was that dude's name?
Oh, man.
It doesn't matter. It's just going to elicit an angry response from me. So.
The coach who won, like, 14 games a year.
Yeah. Well, the executive that led the trust the process. I can't recall his name.
Who started trust the process? Philly. Sam Hinkie.
That's it, Sam Hinkie. I'm sorry to come out of the gates talking. People are like, God, I'm glad Lon was gone yesterday. We didn't have to hear about the Sixers. Jeez. I don't know. Okay.
Another troubled franchise, and I would argue mine is more painful, is the Chicago Bears. I found myself last night watching clips of Jay Cutler on Twitter and feeling like I was a jilted lover, and please come back to me, Jay Cutler.
The good old days.
Yeah.
That's funny.
The good old days of just
Derek
dumb decisions and picks against the Packers. But hey, I mean, Duke could sling it. Him and Brandon Marshall, throw Alshon Jeffrey, Matt Forte.
Yeah.
I would sign up for that yesterday.
In a heartbeat.
I miss it.
I can already see your family he needs a moment.
I do.
Let him watch these highlights. We'll go play with Daddy here in a minute. Let him get his Jay Cutler.
Oh no, I don't worry. I waited till after my son was asleep to do that.
Man, you're better than me because when I was your age and had kids like that young, as soon as they fell asleep,
yeah,
I'm oot. I was asleep in a heartbeat just to try to match their sleeping schedule.
It's one of the few times of kind of personal peace, or you can do something for yourself that you don't get to do otherwise.
I totally
want to watch a show. You want to fire up my PS4, maybe mess around on Madden for 30 minutes.
That sounds fun.
I do that from time to time.
I think the last unit I ever had was a PlayStation 2. Where are they at now? 4?
5.
5. Yeah. Okay, so I wouldn't know any of the buttons. Is the controller still similar to what the 2 was, or is it just...
Yeah.
Okay.
PlayStation stayed pretty consistent.
Okay. So maybe I could still... Can you still buy, like, PlayStation 2? Like, if I needed... I don't even know where it's at. I may have given it away, to be honest with you, or maybe one of the boys has it. But could I guess I could still lock in to play a Madden game?
Yeah.
Like a Madden in that
I'm
era?
sure they're probably not making the new Maddens for PlayStation 2, but you could still fire up a Madden on that.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be good playing back with...
I know people are still playing PS2 to tap into the NCAA football.
Oh, because that was like the last time, right?
Yeah.
Is NIL now? Can we not get that back?
Supposed to be next year.
Back. Oh, it is coming back. I figured that would be the case.
Summer 2024.
Is that probably the most popular sports game?
There's the highest demand to bring it back. I mean,
okay.
Madden's pretty popular. Kyle and I both appreciate MLB The Show. If you like baseball, that's a great game. Probably the best made sports game, in my opinion.
I want the one that is most real, and I don't mean graphic. I mean, I do mean graphics. Don't get me wrong. I don't want to go back to Pong. But I want the one that is more realistic on, like, I would love to play a game where, like, let's say, just to make this up, when the Patriots were winning every year, I'd want it to be really hard to beat New England, right? I don't want it to be where I can just go in there with the scrub Cardinals and beat them by 30. You know, it's like, that's not realistic, Lon. I don't know. What's the most popular? We got to talk Illinois, Wisconsin. What am I doing? What's the most popular video game of all time, you think?
The most popular video game of all time.
Like, it'd be neat to know.
Call of Duty's probably up there.
Yeah. And I was able to play that a few years.
I know if you're an Xbox user, Halo was huge when I was growing up, for sure.
Got it. And then the newer ones, what's the...
you, of course, have...
What's the one where you're building as you go?
Yeah.
That thing is crazy popular, it seems like, with the kids. That's good.
Fortnite.
Fortnite.
Shows how old we are. We couldn't come up with Fortnite.
Where's Kyle when you need him?
Wes says on the U of I Land League text line, NHL and FIFA are awesome sports video games. I agree with both of those. And Lon and I actually, after a show, were talking about playing NHL back in our college days. That was a big game in college for sure.
Huge. Blades of Steel for me. Yeah, the NHL one, I think I remember having one for PS2, and it was pretty good. I liked it. I never got into the soccer one, but I think I would enjoy that. Yeah, Lindy says, Lon, you just need to change the settings to make it hard. I think, yeah, you're right. You're right. You can play like all-star level or something. Yeah, okay.
But there is a level, there's a line where you throw too many picks and then you're just mad. I'm just trying to have a good time. Just kind of decompress a little bit, mess around on this game, and I just threw 3 picks in the first half. I'm not having fun.
I don't want a top 5 pick every year.
I just broke my controller. I got to pay $50 to get another one.
And isn't it funny how, like, you play Call of Duty and you can't get by this one fight scene or whatever it is, right? So you just have to keep, and you finally just get so mad. Or if, like, all of a sudden dinner's ready, I'm just making something up here, and you have to leave, or it's ready to go, you're ready to go out or something. And it's like, well, it's not a big deal, Lon. You can just reset it. But in your mind, it's like, I've got a game going here, man. I am not. And the kids especially. Hey, let's go. Dinner is ready. But I'm in the middle of a game. Well, I mean, you can reset the dang thing.
I still remember. There's that. There's how dare my mom walk across the TV with her vacuum while we were in the middle. Mom, I'm playing online.
Oh,
come on, Mom.
The audacity to do that.
Yeah.
Wow, your mom, man. I thought she was cool.
Yeah, sorry, Mom.
What's an Oculus VR? Is that the old when you put the goggles on your head? I'd be knocking crap down.
I think so,
house.
yeah.
I'd be Kyler Murray scrambling and just, do I actually shrink? That'd be kind of cool.
I can't see over these linemen. He's like, Lon's jumping in his living room trying to see over the line.
What are you jumping for? The whole house is shaking. Well, I can't see over the center. That would be kind of cool though. Like if you were like LeBron and you were all of a sudden 6'8" and muscular, you know, like you could feel your muscles. You're like, holy crap! Come look at me right now. Hurry and take a picture because it's going to go away when I take these off. Now, I think it would be cool. I mean, it's going to be that way, right? In like 20 years, we'll be able to you'll be able to walk into like a little room in your house and you can literally
transform into any athlete
exactly,
you want. Yep.
Exactly. And you'll be like, you even feel getting hit, getting hit and stuff. You can like, you could even like put you could put it at a certain pain level. Like if you were real mad, you just put it at 10 and you can feel the safety just hit you from behind when you didn't know he was coming.
Oh,
can
you imagine you flip on a baseball game and you get hit by a 95-mile-an-hour fastball?
Oh, no.
Rings your bell.
Aroldis Chapman's still throwing about 96. By the way, Cliff said just shows the realism of Madden if Piper's throwing 3 interceptions the first half.
It happens once in a blue moon, I'll admit, but I think I'm pretty good at Madden.
Sal said the last time he played Madden, he took the disc out and threw it at the wall. That'll show it.
That sounds about right, man.
I bet that hurt that thing.
Sounds right.
We're all the same deep down.
Yeah.
We're all competitive, and you want to win. Diane's coming out of nowhere here, like a ghost emerging from the.
I was always a Tetris gal.
Tetris, yes. Yeah.
You know, Miss Pac-Man, all that.
Tetris was too fast moving for me. It was like whoa, like you never got a break. I couldn't stand Tetris or Cubert. All right, Pipes, I'm going to shut up now. We can.
The last thing I have to offer up is, can you? I know they already do this in some games, like make the throwback player. So when we do get in that room and we put on the goggles, you can be, if I want to be Albert Pujols in his prime.
Yes.
In St. Louis, if I want to be Frank Thomas and point and say, she's going to like it too. And then I hit a home run.
That would be, yes, I would love that. And I'd love it even more if it were people that I never got to see play. Stan Musial, Bob Gibson, Ernie Banks, Satchel Paige, guys like that. I mean, if you could, and I'm sure there is something out there that has that, but if you could do like that era, of course, that era, they didn't play in the same era, but you know what I mean? Like if you could go back and add guys like that, oh man, that would be so cool.
I go to make a juke like Barry Sanders and blow an Achilles.
How come he never had Achilles problems? Or
I don't know.
He must have the strongest knees and below, because he could do things that were just not even legal.
Yeah.
They weren't legal.
Right.
Oh, he was so good.
Well, as a transition into real football, we have that to care about thanks to a win in College Park this past weekend by the Illini.
I know what Kyle's laughing at.
I was a little bit on the fence about whether or not that was going to happen or not. A loss there, a loss to Wisconsin.
Yes.
In homecoming, you'd be 2-6, and this thing would be about all she wrote. But Illinois got a surprise victory. Wisconsin, who I think in recent weeks were like, yeah, okay. Preseason prognosticators were probably right. They're probably the best team in the Big Ten West. They hammered Purdue. They got some things going offensively. But then they laid an egg against Iowa at home and lost Tanner Mordecai to injury in that game. And now they're going to bring in Braden Locke, who is a redshirt freshman. He transferred from Mississippi State. He was there last year, didn't play, and then transferred to Wisconsin as a backup, of course. He's going to make his first start here in Champaign. And as you look at the point spread right now, Illinois is only a 2.5-point underdog to a Wisconsin team at home for homecoming. So we got the next couple of days to really dive in deep. I know we're going to get a guy from 24/7 tomorrow to talk more about this. We'll break it all down at Pia's on Friday. As a reminder, one of the few we'll make over the next day or two. Come out and join us on Friday, 3 to 5. Jay Lehman's going to be there. Going to have Kent Brown as well. We locked him in. And then we're Martin O'Donnell. Can I mention that one as well?
Yeah, I think we
got that one lined up.
Obviously,
we've been talking to him.
Yeah, that would be awesome to have Martin out. He's spectacular with what he does and how he covers the games and such. And it'll just be fun to visit with him. I'm looking at this. So you're saying essentially we've got an Egg Bowl battle.
Yeah,
going
Ole
on.
Miss, Mississippi State.
Yeah,
good
we
call.
got like two quarterbacks that I know Braden never really played for Mississippi State or didn't at all, and obviously our quarterback Altmaier didn't play a lot. But you look at this. I mean, Mordecai. Look, he was the perfect Wisconsin quarterback, right? 64% completion, 3 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Kind of don't do anything wrong. Get us into this ground game, even though they think they're this air raid offense now, which is interesting. I can't wait to kind of see how that develops Saturday with your backup. But you look at this lock. I mean, he's 13 of 31. He's already thrown an interception, no touchdowns. I mean, on a scale of 1 to 10, and I'll ask both of you, Kyle, you can weigh in. How much does it give Illinois a chance to win this game? How important? Like 10 being, we'll win this easily now because their backup quarterback's in. I don't think it's that easy because they still have a stud running attack, right, with Braylon Allen and such.
Right.
But how easier does it make the game? Is it a 6? I mean, is it an 8 to be able to throw a backup? Now, obviously, we don't know much about Braden Locke.
Yeah, to go 6, you're leaning towards Illinois should win the game, which I wouldn't totally argue and say that you're dead wrong with that. At least it's a toss-up. I mean, it's a 5 at the very least. Vegas with the line certainly shows that. It would be a little backwards to be like, okay, between the Maryland game and the Wisconsin game, what's going against you against Maryland? Well, you're on the road. You're facing one of the best quarterbacks in the Big Ten. They got a good passing attack, and Illinois obviously has an inexperienced secondary and all that. Also, Maryland, on paper, I believe, was better at stopping the run than Wisconsin's been to this point.
I believe you're right.
You look at Wisconsin, rush defense, about they're 8th in the league in yards per game given up on the ground, and Maryland's 5th, so that they're higher up in those rankings as well. So then you flip the script. You're at home in this one. You're facing a backup quarterback who, like you said, he's 3 for 31. And even Tanner Mordecai, I thought, now, yes, when they said air raid with Wisconsin and any kind of notion they weren't still going to run the ball, I think that was kind of crazy.
Right.
But this was somebody that threw like 70 touchdown passes over the last 2 years at SMU.
That's crazy.
For his numbers to change, not to say that it's not a step up in competition a little bit, to face some Big Ten opponents and whatnot. But I think that also tells me that the receiving core at Wisconsin isn't built to have the type of passing attack that maybe Luke Fickell and company want pushing forward. So I think that this sets up to not hurt Illinois' weaknesses as much.
Great call.
And to have a guy that's even more inexperienced than Luke Altmaier is a big plus for Illinois.
You had accidentally said 3 of 31. He's 16 of 31.
Did I say 3 of 31?
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, at first I was like,
I'd be at a 10 if he was 3 for 31.
Right.
No, you'd be playing quarterback for Iowa if you're 3 for 31.
Okay.
And yet still be 6
Okay.
and 1.
That was well deserved. I'm looking here at their 2 top running backs. We all know about Braylon Allen. Ches Malusi last year was pretty solid for them as well. They're both averaging over 6 yards a carry. And what's scary is you look at your total carries, 224 for Wisconsin for 1,124 yards. Illinois actually has one more carry this year, but only 893 yards. So that shows you. Now, obviously, it's been a lot of injuries in that Illinois backfield, and there are some built-in excuses for that. That offensive line, obviously, which we think kind of got on track against Maryland, would love to see that continue again. But certainly, Luke Altmaier is a heavy favorite when it comes to the quarterback matchup, and I think that's where Illinois got to take advantage. And Isaiah Williams, I don't think we talk enough about him and what he's done this season. I know all of us the other day were just talking about how this kid could possibly get to, I think last year he had 80 catches, and he's already at 42. And it seems like, he's getting 6 or 7 a game. He's 546 in terms of yards. I don't know if he can get to 1,000 there, but, Juice. Isaiah is the kind of guy that could go over 100 in 2 or 3 straight games, and all of a sudden now you got that yardage mark creeping up to 1,000. I think it would be wonderful to get him to that mark. But you're right. I mean, it's an Illinois team, and I've said this 100 times, where coming into the year I thought, well, good luck running against us. And I know that you were missing a couple of guys, but with Newton and Randolph, do we know about Randolph? Will he be available? I would hope. You're going to need him in this game.
Might learn more tomorrow when Brett talks to the media.
Okay. I couldn't remember if he said anything on Monday.
On Monday, he said he hadn't been cleared yet, but he was progressing. So
was this an ankle?
I don't know what it was.
Because he heard it, I think, in the Purdue game when Purdue was just walking all over.
I want to say he was down in the Nebraska game late and left the field.
Okay, maybe it was Nebraska.
It looked pretty serious, but then I think he came back in and played a couple snaps, but then obviously was out.
Then it was done. Okay. Well, again, Wisconsin could talk all about their air raid, and granted, without their starting quarterback, that obviously changes things, but you still got to stop them running the football, and I think that Illinois is just going to have to do They're going to have to do a yeoman job of that. I know one of the guys that, of course, is leading this Illinois team in tackles is Dylan Rosiak. We're going to hear from him a little bit later, the sophomore with 45 tackles, tied with Miles Scott. So you're going to need those. And then you got Randolph and Newton, 33 tackles for Randolph, 29 for Newton. So how have they played? How do you think Newton and Randolph, how would you grade the law firm?
I think for the most part, Newton's been pretty good. He's had some moments of dominance. The fact that he was raved about in that Penn State game, said how good he was able to be against the top-notch rushing attack, and that's a nationally televised game, and obviously his performance in that earned him high praise. I don't like the fact that he had the penalty late against Maryland.
Right.
Of course, that's just kind of a thing you just need to get cleaned up for this squad in general, is just some of those unnecessary penalties. But there have been moments where they haven't been as flashy and impactful as I would have thought. But I think that on the whole, I'd probably give Newton, and you guys can weigh in on this as well, obviously, but is he a B+ or?
Yeah, he leads. I think going into Maryland, he led the country in pressures.
Okay, that's probably an A then.
So
I think he's an A.
I would say an A.
He's gotten double teamed the last couple of weeks heavily, which, that speaks to how dominant he is. You can't really fault him if he's not quite as disruptive because he's opening up. Like Seth Coleman benefited from that.
Right. And Adugla.
Yep.
Am I saying that right? Odaluga, sorry. I always say it wrong. Those guys, I definitely agree with Kyle, are benefiting. Newton has 2.5 sacks, 17 yards, accompanied with those 2.5 sacks. Randolph, he has 1.5 sacks, 33 tackles for Randolph, 29 for Newton. But you're right, in terms of, first of all, I doubt they even run at Johnny Newton or Keith Randolph.
Right.
They probably are like, don't run at those two guys. I don't know what gap you've got to run at, but don't run at those two. So, yeah, I think that's number one. That's a hard position, unless they have like 8 sacks right now at this point. It's a hard position for me, at least. Maybe other people are better at this, but to kind of judge and say, oh yeah, I have to rely on PFF grades more.
I was just about to bring him up.
Is that what you? Yeah, I was going to say.
I know we did have a text from a Muhammad on the U of I Atlanta Link text line saying that Johnny Newton named a mid-season first-team All-American. So,
okay.
There are 2 A's in All-American, so I'd say he's an A.
Yeah, let's do A on
Let
that.
me revote.
He also mentioned, I didn't know Malusi was out for the season.
Oh,
yes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. My fault.
He got hurt in that Purdue game.
My fault. Okay. Well, I'll tell you what, that's even better. I hate to root for injuries to be the reason, but a lot of this, and to credit Illinois for getting back in it with the game against Maryland, the win against Maryland. That definitely brought a lot of us back, and it put them back in a position to succeed in terms of at least going to a bowl game and getting the 6 wins or more. So I give them credit for that, but certainly you're catching a big break here with injuries for Wisconsin, and them coming here is nice as well. So it's, I don't know, it's hard to win in Madison. We all know that. So it's nice to know that not only do they have the injuries, but they're coming here, and it's homecoming. Not that that matters. I think Illinois started homecoming. Did you know that, Kyle?
No.
Illinois started homecoming. You have to Google it to make sure, but I'm pretty sure that's the case. Pretty sure. Pipes got in trouble a lot at homecoming. We got the door open.
Oh.
No, I don't know. Did you? Homecoming was just another Saturday for us at SIU. I mean,
are you talking about when I was actually in school?
Yeah.
I don't recall.
Okay,
so then I probably,
we're going to let that go.
I probably did.
I probably did.
Probably did, yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, did you ever find the PFF grades?
Yeah, I brought up Johnny Newton. On the whole, he's been graded out as about a 75 out of 100. When you look at interior defenders, he's down the list a little bit nationally. Like, I would have expected him to be maybe a little bit higher, but he's like... Now, again, I don't know what the sample size is for some of these guys. Like, you might have just situational players that don't have the snap count of Johnny Newton, but essentially he's like 92nd among interior defenders in terms of PFF grade.
Well, then that's hard to beat.
That's
pretty solid.
It's solid, but for a first team, like a first team midseason All-American, I would expect him to be like top 5.
Yeah,
in the country,
that's true.
But
that's true.
He's not there right now. I'll maybe get in a little bit deeper on some of these stats.
Well, I'll tell you this. If Randolph is able to play, and obviously Newton, if they can slow this Wisconsin running attack, then they will have earned back a lot of, if there's any thought that they're not playing up to the level that we felt like they should play. They could do it this weekend,
right?
And it would be a big time to do it.
Right.
Because it's going to be a lot of Braylon Allen coming at you.
100%. Yeah, you got to use this break to your advantage. The fact that you have the injury to Tanner Mordecai, you got to be able to make this something that is a break that you've needed. You've needed a break when you lose on your home field to Nebraska and you struggle to have things click the way we thought they would early on in the year. And I'm not saying this is another quote-unquote must-win by any means, but it would really propel you back into a spot where you still have at Minnesota, you still have Indiana, you still have Northwestern.
Sure.
And you'd be sitting there with 4 wins and 3 very winnable ones at the very least, plus Iowa. You never know. I mean, that's probably an ugly football game, and the way they're playing defense, you go on the road, and it's probably a tough one to get. But you could make up for some of the missed opportunities, the poor performance earlier in the year if you were to reel off back-to-back against Maryland and Wisconsin.
I'm with you. And Kyle, Iowa doesn't – I mean, they scare you because of their defense, but you have a feeling you're going to be in the game, regardless if their starting quarterback is back, which he won't. So, I don't know.
Yeah.
You just feel like you always go into the Iowa game probably knowing you're going to lose, or that's the feeling, but yet knowing that this is still an Iowa team that doesn't score.
I mean,
which opens the door for you to stay in the game.
I could not be less worried about Iowa, but the problem is that I think they may go 11-1 because their schedule is unbelievably soft the rest of the way.
That's unreal.
But yeah, I mean, their defense is elite, but they can't score. I think it's going to be a game that the total is under 30 in that.
Oh yeah, big time, and it's at Iowa City, so that always makes it a little bit tougher as well. But hey, it is what it is.
Should we just bet Iowa unders the rest of the year
Yes.
and see how profitable it is?
The total for Iowa, Minnesota this Saturday, I think at least it opened at 32.5, which is just insane.
I think the Wisconsin-Iowa one was like 34.
It was 34.5, I think.
And it was a total of 21
There's
points.
3 automatic wins in life right now. The Carolina Panthers losing, so bet money line on the other team.
Okay.
Iowa under. And Christian McCaffrey scoring a touchdown.
Good call.
Right? I mean, that's like
Good
14
call.
straight weeks, although he's banged up a little bit, but now they don't think it's as bad. Those 3, if you'd have done that all year, you would have pulled ahead.
There's a stat out there, I know we got to catch a break, that if you would have the streak that McCaffrey has of consecutive touchdowns, if you would have bet like $1,000, now who's betting $1,000 on an anytime touchdown? Let's make it more like relative. If you were to bet maybe $100 on that, and then you took the winnings and just continued to stack it up, you'd have like $200,000 or something like that by now. I saw a stat about that.
But if I did that by week 3,
if you personally did that,
he wouldn't score week 1.
We know.
I'd be down 100 and be
how
sitting
some
there
of
going,
those go. But you've been
I know
on a nice
I've
little
been,
run here recently. So I think the less we talk about it, the better it's going. So
Maxwell says that sounds like a little 3-leg parlay to me, Lon. Let's go. We can bet all 3 of those. Is McCaffrey healthy though? He got banged up. I don't even know who they play.
They've got Minnesota on Monday night.
Ooh, they haven't beaten them in years, I heard. That's not a stat that somebody like Lon would know or come up with. I must have heard that.
Is that real?
Yeah, they haven't beaten Minnesota. Kyle, before we take a break, can you effort last time Niners beat the Vikings? Now, granted, they don't play all the time, but it seems like it's been quite a while. Minnesota's kind of had their number. He's looking. He's no left-handed typer.
Step your game up, Kyle.
I mean, my goodness.
They beat them in 2021.
Oh, well, then that's not very bad.
Yeah, I think you might be
maybe it was
thinking
at
of
Minnesota.
a different team. Or, yeah, maybe.
Maybe that's what it was. I'll effort that one.
At Minnesota, it's been since 2000. Wow. It's been a long time.
Like 94?
92.
92, okay.
That's what it was.
All right, that's what I had heard. So give me a half a star for coming to the table with something that at least everybody now is going to remember. That's what's good about me is that I'll always get it wrong and everybody else will correct me and then they'll never forget it. So there'll be guys at a bar Sunday going, San Francisco hasn't won at Minnesota since 92. And other people will be like, why do you know that? Well, I just do.
That's what Lonte said.
That's what Lon said.
I will say I found that Johnny Newton has been credited with 25 pressures so far this year.
Wow.
I don't know where that ranks nationally. I do assume that that's pretty high, but I don't know why I can't sort it.
I know going into the Maryland game, he was first among all defensive tackles.
Then why is he not? Is he not getting good run grades? Why is he not graded
higher on his?
He's 92nd in the country in interior defensive lineman grade overall, but that's interesting.
We need to get
Let's call somebody from PS. Yeah, that question.
Doesn't our guy work for PFF?
Mike Renner?
Yeah.
Get him on the horn.
We need to have Mike on one of these days. Scott actually did the bet. It's $100 to win 110. That's it, even with a McCaffrey touchdown?
McCaffrey touchdown, Panthers to lose, and who else?
It was Iowa's under.
Oh, Iowa's under. Gotcha.
It's got to be more than that. Maybe he's just joking.
Well, Iowa's under is going to be minus 110.
Yeah.
Anyway, I would imagine.
Yeah.
But
I'm going to do it at this break.
Let's get it done. Let's get it done. If you want to win, you can. 217-359-2255 on the U of I Atlantic League text line. We can talk a little baseball at some point. You had the Phillies just mash the Arizona Diamondbacks last night. Merrill Kelly, I was going to say, he only gave 3 hits, although there were 3 bombs. 2 by Schwarber, Kyle's guy, and 1 by Trey Turner. And then getting into that bullpen, just the floodgates opened up and a 10-0 win for the Phillies last night. Now going to Arizona up 2-0 in the series, and you got Houston and Texas tonight, Game 3. 2-0 is the series for Texas. Max Scherzer is going to make his postseason debut. We'll talk more about that. We can talk some college hoops. I just got that itch to talk college hoops. I'll fill you in.
I read
at some
your
point.
VIP.
Yeah,
and I just want to like shout it to the world.
Let's talk about some. We can talk about some of it.
Okay.
Because the Illinois basketball is going to play a exhibition game here in 2 days. So let's
2 days.
Let's get you set for that as well.
I'm in.
We're due for a break. Stick with us. It is The Drive.
Well, you got events all week long. I mean, it's Dinner on the Quad Monday, Homecoming International Day Celebration Tuesday, Greek Support Homecoming, among other things, on Wednesday. Thursday's the Shabbat Campus for Jewish Life Dedication ribbon cutting.
We will have, a lot of featured guests throughout the week, obviously. Yeah. The Homecoming Parade on Friday. That'll be at 5:30.
Global talent shows on Tuesday night, and there's just so many fun festivities. Where do we go for more information?
Absolutely. Homecoming.illinois.edu. Go Illini.
It's that time of year again when the Pregnancy Resource Center begins to prepare for their annual fundraising banquet. The 2023 banquet will be held on Friday, October 20th at 7 p.m. at the iHotel in Champaign. Keynote speakers this year will be from the hit reality show Duck Dynasty, Al and Lisa Robertson. Married for over 30 years, the couple will openly share their hardships as they counsel couples in trouble across the country at churches and pregnancy centers. For more information or to make a donation, visit chprcevents.org.
With the leaves and temperatures beginning to fall, it's time to make sure those furnaces are in great running order. Get that furnace tuned up so it doesn't let you down on the cold nights. Dogtown is the People's Choice #1 HVAC company again in 2023. Ask about the current 0% financing offer on all Lennox high comfort systems and single component units for qualifying applicants. The number's 217-841-4728. Dogtown Heating, Air, and Plumbing, your home's best friend.
Get the roof your home deserves by Roof Doctors, your residential roofing specialist that has always offered the best warranties in the industry, like our non-prorated 50-year warranty. Our customers love that we are family-owned and locally operated. We make our customer needs our top priority. With over 30 years experience and the best customer service, give Roof Doctors a call today for your free estimate at 328-7529. In your community and for your community, Roof Doctors.
So when was the last time you saw a best deal guarantee?
You mean a promise that actually held up?
Right.
That some unknown online entity didn't want you to log in and download a code and then re-verify as you join some club.
Drives you nuts, I know.
And then once you purchase that set of steak knives...
Well, Dick Van Dyke Appliance World is a lot simpler. You find a verified great deal and they beat it. Just show them the deal you saw. A newspaper clipping or the online cart price will do, and then you're good.
At Dick Van Dyke Appliance World, it's one of those instances where you see a best deal guarantee and...
you get the best deal.
This is Dennis Rieken, chairman of Dick Van Dyke Appliance World. Our exclusive 10-year protection plan comes free with most appliance purchases. Whether it's a GE, Whirlpool, Frigidaire, Bosch, or any of our 30 brands, I guarantee we will beat any competitor's deal. Wow!
Dick Van Dyke Appliance World. When you buy from us, you get the whole store.
You moved into your new home using 2 men in a truck. The garage was clean. Then...
I love the new recliner. What are we going to do with this old one?
Put it in the garage for now. Over time, this cycle continued.
Garage for now, put it in the garage for now, put it in the garage for now, put it in the garage for now.
It happens. You got junk. Call 2 Men in a Truck to get rid of all your junk. Residential or commercial, 2 Men in a Truck has a solution for your junk removal. Contact them at 2menchampagne.com.
2 Men in a Truck.
I'm Justin Ike, co-owner of Fred's Plumbing, Heating, Air Conditioning, Electric, and Underground.
So, Justin, tell me what you see as typical when it comes to sewer repair. Give me a scenario.
Your sewer's backed up and somebody comes along and says, you need this repair for X amount of dollars. Here's my price. And you don't think to go looking for another company or a second opinion because you don't feel like you have time.
So is it possible that you might get charged a little more because it's kind of a desperate moment? Do some companies do that?
Oh, absolutely they will. They know you're in a pinch. Typically, if you call us, me or Will can be out there within an hour to look at that problem for you. Whether you call me first, you call me second, make sure you give me a call.
Anything else, Justin?
You can always trust Fred's.
Great to know. Thank you. That's Justin Ike, the co-owner of Fred's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning, Electric, and Underground. If you want more information about this great 45-year family-owned company, just go to fredscu.com. That's fredscu.com.
Illini fans, for a limited time at Jets Pizza, new popcorn chicken pizzas. Their tasty popcorn chicken on their famous BBQ, Aloha BBQ, Buffalo Ranch, or Bacon Ranch pizzas. It's new and a limited time offer, so don't miss out. Try any of the 4 for just $17.99. Code BBQ. Their popcorn chicken pizzas are perfect to order while watching football with friends and family. Try their tasty popcorn chicken on their famous BBQ, Aloha BBQ, Buffalo Ranch, or Bacon Ranch pizzas. Just $17.99. $1.99. Code BBQ. Jets better because it has to be.
The Champaign Center Partnership invites the community to join in the holiday festivities happening in downtown Champaign during the 23rd Annual Parade of Lights presented by Christie Clinic on Saturday, November 25th. You can be part of the holiday magic by sponsoring, volunteering, or entering a float in the parade. Early float registration ends on Halloween. Visit ChampaignCenter.com for all the details. Can't wait to see you in downtown Champaign this Saturday following Thanksgiving for the Parade of Lights.
Here's what one shopper said about Pard's Western Shop in Urbana, 306 North Maple, between Main and University. He said, sure, you can find boots at some big box stores, but nothing like Pard's selection. They're unique, they're local, and they have an excellent store. So many people that visit Pard's in Urbana say the same thing. Pard's in Urbana, 306 North Maple. You can find the best boots in the world and shop local. Visit pards.com, pards.com. Hi, it's Stevie J. Start your day with me along with Diane Ducey, weekday mornings 7 to 9, here on ESPN Radio 93.5.
Back on the drive with Sam Piper, ESPN Radio 93.5. I know we had Lindy on the U of I Atlanta Link text line text in earlier about why is RJ Melendez still on the intro. Didn't you guys hear that RJ pulled the Casey Washington and he left Georgia, he came back, and Illinois had a scholarship?
Oh, he's doing the Casey Washington. Yeah, you just said. Yeah, I mean, I like this. No, I don't.
No, that's not what happened.
Would you want RJ Melendez back?
No.
Nah.
I don't think so either. Who would you
That's
take?
not your issue. Like, you've got enough
wings
and guys that can play between a 3 and a 4, and he wasn't a plus shooter last year. He was obviously a big minus. Is he going to get healthier with his shoulder and have a bounce back? That's possible for him, but rather have some capable ball handler to be
I agree.
a potential point guard option.
I liked RJ. I think somebody texted last year a lot that said that they just didn't play him in the right spot. And I mean, I don't know if that's true or not, but like to me, RJ, you're not a shooter. You're just not. And I think they tried to make him one. I mean, his best highlights, I can tell you right now, were when he was coming from the baseline for a dunk. You know, those were his great. Mm-hmm. He was explosive, or he could be. And it just seemed like, I don't know, that was last year.
There was a lot of, it is going to transition kind of to forecasting this year too. I'm going to be really interested. I know you look at Ottawa on Friday, and that's a NAIA school and not great competition. So I don't know how much we'll be able to glean from that one. But then, of course, Kansas is the number 1 team in the country. So how that looks is going to be interesting. But with RJ, there was a lot of spotting up in the corner and kind of being stagnant. And I think Illinois' offense in general was pretty stagnant, especially off the ball.
Yes, sir.
Can this team do a better job of cutting and moving into openings, having a flow about it, you know, whether it's connecting pass after pass after pass to keep movement going, or guys away from the ball trying to find gaps to cut down and get open? And do you have that cohesion with the ball handler and the cutter to be like, okay, I'm going to see this, I'm going to anticipate that? And I think that's something that I want to see out of this team. I think especially if you're not a knockdown three-point shooting team, which I think for the most part we're not expecting them to be, you need to be able to do some of those other things to get easy baskets and to really take up some of that space that's out there. So I think RJ could have benefited from more cuts, whether that was design or just kind of him feeling it out. And then, of course, if Illinois could have played maybe in transition a little bit more and get him going that way. But he had a lot of open threes that he just didn't make. And I think that he's probably a better shooter than, 20% or so last year. But
I would hope.
We'll see how that looks at Georgia.
Now, he's no Jaden Epps 46,
Man, we mentioned that yesterday while you were gone.
I heard you. His dad, right?
His dad and his trainer. His trainer.
Oh,
the
trainer
was pretty
was
aggressive on Twitter. He was the most combative of Brad Underwood on Twitter.
He was jealous.
How much is he victory lapping the 46-point scrimmage performance about like, see?
I haven't checked
Jaden wasn't being used properly.
I have not checked in on that. I'm sure he'll be vocal if that continues this season. And Illinois struggles.
Why can't I think of our trainer, our strength guy?
Oh, the strength and conditioning coach, Adam Fletcher?
Yeah, Fletch. You know that guy had a big old jealousy problem with that. Let's be honest. He had, not Epps, but the trainer.
Yeah, well, it wasn't like a strength guy. I think it was like a skill work guy. Like his personal player development guy.
Got it. Okay. I needed one of those growing up. All I had was a folding lawn chair that Steve Alford showed me one Saturday morning how to cut off screens and move away from the balls. So I put up like 4 chairs, and Dad came home from the office, and he's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm learning how to move without the ball and coming off screens." And he's like, "All right, I'm going to go fish." I'm like, "Oh, you're not even going to help me?" I'm like, I need somebody to pass it to me. I had to spin the ball back to me. I'd throw it like 20 feet ahead, spin it back, come off the screen, make like
that
3
works,
out of 10.
Man.
It does.
I like doing that.
That was a guy. Look, I got a good sweat out of that stuff. All right, you know the saying, innocent until proven guilty. The way I'm looking at this Illinois offense this season is the opposite. It's guilty until they've proven that they're innocent. I'm still worried about the lack of a true point guard. I know that Ty, I understand Dre hopefully can do some things.
Yep.
I mean, I'm assuming against Ottawa, Nico's going to like light him up. You know, he'll have an Epps kind of line, so we'll be like, "Oh, we've got our point guard." But until they show me that they can run an offense that just looks smooth and it looks like it's running the correct way without sputtering, without everything, and part of that is shooting, then I'm going in with a guilty verdict until that they prove to me that, yep, you know what? Things have changed this season. Is that fair?
I think that it could still be a big blemish, obviously, on this team in terms of what they're capable of and how far they can go if they don't figure out the point guard situation. Do I think they can win a decent amount of games, even with some ability to poke holes in what that spot looks like? I think they can, because I think they're talented. I think they got some pluses on the defensive end. The fact of Terrence Shannon Jr. is one of the best players when he's at his best, obviously one of the best in the Big Ten, if not. I mean, I think that there's a potential for him to be an All-American candidate if he really figures things out and can be consistent and assertive and all those things. Coleman's a good player. He's on NBA draft boards for a reason. I wrote about Marcus Damask in my recent article, and there's a lot of hype around him right now. There's a lot of excitement about what he's showing on the practice court and him being just a really savvy veteran that's very steady, and they feel like he's probably, one of the top 3 players on the court any day for them right now, and sometimes even better than that, sometimes one of the 2 best. So I think that's great. I think you got him. You got Quincy coming in with 4 years of high major experience. You got a lot of depth. But, yes, if Ty does not really fully embrace that position and make people better, and
I agree.
If the shooting concerns are just such a huge limitation, then that's going to hold this team back, I think, ultimately. I think Brad's got to be really selective. I think in general, when you have a lot of depth, you've got to make good choices with your rotations and make some tough decisions. But I think especially with Ty not being able to shoot, like how much can you play him and Dane together?
Right.
Like can you have Dane on the floor with Ty, and then if you think about that, if they want to play where Dane's posting up, how does Ty's defender not automatically go and just kind of get up in Dane's grill? And yes, Ty could cut to the basket, and you just got to be able to structure that well to where the floor spacing isn't all messed up. And on the flip side, like what if Terrence is out there trying to drive to the basket and you got Dane spotted up on one block and you got Ty as a guy you don't have to guard, outside of the free throw line. So that's something they're going to have to navigate. And then you got inexperienced players in Dre Gibbs-Lawhorn and Nico Moretti. I know that Moretti has been someone they've talked up in terms of his offensive capabilities, a guy that sees the floor well, can play in pick and rolls and whatnot, and did some good things in Spain. I think defensively I still have big concerns about him because he's really slender and not the most athletic, and I think that teams will attack him defensively. And then Dre is someone that has the utmost confidence and a lot of physical talent, but there'll be times where he's a little inefficient. He'll take some bad shots, and we'll just kind of ride that freshman roller coaster. So the long-winded answer is that I think that there's a lot of reason to be worried about point guard. I'm really interested to see how it looks. I do like that it sounds like Ty's backing guys down quite a bit. And that's going to be interesting. If we've kind of wondered how that would be, how much Jalen Pickett he could add to his game in that type of a sense. And I think kind of to throw it back to you is the best way to do that is you got to have as much spacing around him as possible. It's probably playing Coleman at the 5 and really opening up that lane for him to be able to do that.
Before we get to the text line, Kyle, what do you think going in? What is your thought on this point guard situation going in? See, whatever you say today is going to be held over you.
Yeah, I know.
In February.
I'm skeptical about it. I want to see it play out. I mean, I have a lot of concerns about the fact that your starting point guard is not a threat outside of the paint. I think that's going to clog up some things. Now, I think it could work. Derek alluded to a lot of the reasons that it could still work. And I think that, if Ty Rodgers is backing guys down and using his size and physicality at that spot, I think that's where you can have an advantage. But I'm very concerned offensively of putting the ball in the hands of a guy that isn't a threat outside of the paint. I think that's going to be something that I need to see play out for me to buy into Illinois being a much improved offensive team with that. And again, it's nothing against Ty the player.
Right.
It's just him playing that spot with his shooting deficiencies. And I think that concerns me, and I want to see that play out. But I think that there are some reasons that it could work. But I do agree that I would like to see a lineup with a lot of spacing with Coleman at the 5 and try to put as much perimeter spacing around him to make it easier on him and minimize some of those concerns.
Yeah, very true.
I think it's going to be interesting how people guard him, like especially
Ty. You're talking
Ty,
about.
yeah, especially like the big time matchups, like Kansas. I mean, it's a game that doesn't count. They maybe don't have to spend too much time worrying about what a scouting report looks like. Although if they put DeJuan Harris, the Big 12 Defensive Player of the Year, on him as a point guard and see what that looks like, but does Marquette just say, we're not going anywhere past the free throw line on Ty Rodgers? Like, we're just going to camp out in the lane. There's no defensive 3 seconds like there is in the NBA, and we're just going to – if he wants to take 6 or 7 threes, like one year it was Penn State that just didn't guard DeMonte Williams, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think he ended up making like 3 of 6, 3 of 7, 3 whatever it was. But they just like, we're not going to guard him.
Mm-mm.
So I think that with Ty, I had heard – and to share a little bit of what I wrote, and not to say like this is a very small sample size, but I had heard on Friday Ty had taken 3 threes in that practice. He made 1, but he airballed the other 2. I know in the open practice before Spain that I did see, he made a pull-up jumper kind of just inside the free throw line type of shot, so maybe he can add that a little bit if people are overplaying his drive a little bit too much, but he did have a ball in the hand late in the shot clock, and that's something that I'm going to be really interested to see how they structure that around with Ty out there.
Makes sense.
That he had to take a 3, and he missed everything on that as well. So just having that, it's kind of like a quarterback if he couldn't throw downfield. Like, it just shrinks the area that the defense has to account for. And again, there are a lot of things I really like about Ty Rodgers. I love his rebounding. I love his grit.
Amen.
I think he's a good athlete. I think for the most part, he can get where he wants to go off the dribble. He did that last year in ball screens. But and maybe if Damas comes in and he shoots 35+% from 3, if Guerrier shoots well from 3, if Goody, if Shannon, if Hawkins, then all of a sudden you can have one guy that doesn't shoot it that well, and maybe he'll go bang in the lane, and those other guys will hurt you if you cheat off, and they leave you open from 3. So
that's fair.
That can work, but then of course you have the question. Well, then again, Illinois was 335th in 3-point shooting last year.
Yeesh. Austin's got a good text that we're going to get to next hour. It's about Kansas and how that will go. I think it'd be a nice time to throw that out at your pipes. What are you? I know you don't have the playbook, but what can we expect with Illinois and Kansas since it's an exhibition, et cetera? What do you think they'll, kind of how will they do it compared to other exhibitions that they've maybe done? Although those are always secretive. This one, everybody's going to see. So we'll do that when we come back next hour. I think that'd be perfect. Also, we're going to hear from Dylan Rosiak, linebacker, sophomore linebacker, leads the team in tackles, tied for the team lead, and the 2 coordinators talking Illinois, Wisconsin. We got a lot to do. I'm signing us off. It's The Drive.
We all have a mission in life, something that drives us. to explore, to grow, to love. And when we discover it, we're made whole. At OSF Healthcare, we want you to be the best you possible. We're here for you on your schedule to make your life just a little bit easier. Whatever your mission is, we're here to support it. Your life, our mission. Learn more at osfhealthcare.org/mission.
You're listening to WSJK ESPN 93.5 Tuscola, Champaign-Urbana, your home for the St. Louis Cardinals.
Jordan comes up short again. I'm Matt Napolitano, Fox News. Ohio Congressman Jim Jordan adding Republican detractors in the second round of voting for House Speaker, again missing the 217 votes needed to take the gavel. Jordan says he's not giving up. As for when a third vote may happen,
I don't think we're going tonight, but I got to talk to Patrick about the schedule.
Referring to Speaker Pro Tem Patrick McHenry, there is a resolution that may be introduced to elevate McHenry to permanent temporary House Speaker status. President Biden stressing the need for humanitarian aid in Israel.
I'm very blunt about the need to support getting humanitarian aid to Gaza.
The president speaking to reporters on Air Force One as he flies back from a trip to Israel, meeting with leaders and committing to the country's right to protect itself. President Biden also announcing Egypt's president has agreed to open the Gaza border crossing to allow in 20 trucks with humanitarian aid. Meantime, protesters taking over a lobby in the Capitol calling for a ceasefire. Capitol Police say 3 of those demonstrators will be charged with assaulting a police officer. Joran Vandersloot admitting to the 2005 murder of Natalie Holloway. Vandersloot copping to bludgeoning and disposing of the Alabama teen's remains during sentencing for a plea deal on charges he extorted Holloway's mother. Police in Suffolk County, New York, vowing to leave no stone unturned in the investigation into alleged serial killer Rex Heuermann.
I'm going to continue to grind to make sure anybody that had an interaction with our defendant, Rex Heuermann, is held accountable in this case.
Suffolk PD Commissioner Rodney Harrison, this as an attorney for Heuermann's alleged victims, says 4 witnesses are offering more details that could expand the probe. On Wall Street, the Dow closing down over 332 points. The S&P falls by 59, while the Nasdaq dropped 219. America's listening to Fox News.
The best way to stop Joe Biden's agenda is to opt out of his inflation game by diversifying your savings into gold. I'm Dr. Ron Paul, and this is why I recommend a gold IRA from Birch Gold Group. To learn more, text the word SHELTER to 989898 to get a free info kit on gold. Birch Gold is the only gold company I trust, so text SHELTER to 989898 right now.
Paid for by Birch Gold Group.
Did you know you can get your prescriptions for less at your local pharmacy? You can with GoodRx. It's the free app that can save you money on your medications. Just search for your prescription, choose the pharmacy and the price that works best for you, and then show your GoodRx coupon to your pharmacist at the drop-off counter. GoodRx works at over 70,000 pharmacies, including Walmart, Rite Aid, and Walgreens, and it works whether you have insurance or not. It's easy to save. Next time you drop off your prescription, check GoodRx. To start saving today, go to GoodRx.com. GoodRx is not insurance.
Cape May County, New Jersey, joining a lawsuit against the federal government in a bid to overturn approval of the state's first offshore wind energy farm. The suit claims federal agencies did not adequately consider potential harm to the environment and marine life from offshore wind projects. A man accused of bringing loaded guns inside the Wisconsin state capitol is facing new charges.
43-year-old Joshua Pleasnick arrested 2 weeks ago and charged with a misdemeanor count of carrying a concealed weapon when police say he entered the Wisconsin state capitol demanding to speak to Governor Tony Evers. Pleasnick posted bail and returned to the capitol hours later with another concealed weapon, later taken into protective custody and transported to a hospital. The latest arrest stems from the second firearms offense. Pleasnick doesn't have a concealed carry permit and guns aren't allowed in government buildings. Pleasnick has said he wanted to speak to the governor about men who've been abused by women, but who don't receive any help. Jeff Manasso, Fox News.
A new clinical trial is looking to determine if one type of mammogram works better than another.
Thousands of volunteers are being recruited for the study, which is being done by the National Cancer Institute to answer this question. Are 3D mammograms better than standard 2D imaging for detecting advanced cancers? So far, almost 93,000 women have been enrolled for the global trial, which has a goal of 128,000. The 3D technique has been around for a decade, but there hasn't been hard evidence that it's better than 2D at catching advanced cancers. The trial is looking for a diverse group of participants with the hope of closing the gap of disparities in breast cancer death rates. Black women are 40% more likely to die from breast cancer than white women. Tanya J. Powers, Fox News.
Playoff baseball continues tonight with Game 3 of the AL Championship Series. The Texas Rangers up 2-0 on the Houston Astros. First pitch coming up after 8 p.m. Eastern. I'm Matt Napolitano. This is Fox News.
Ignition sequence start. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Liftoff.
Check. I literally just create madness.
Boiler up.
I'm going to go off here.
They don't have a great quarterback.
I got to take a break. I'm getting in trouble.
To win the Big Ten, you first got to win the West.
Bad Bunny. Have you heard his name in a while?
No.
Has it bothered you?
No. Defensively, they got to come in with some confidence.
Is that even analytics?
I'm in a parking garage, kind of lost.
Terrence Shannon, Matthew Meyer, R.J. Melendez, Coleman Hawkins.
These trophy presentations aren't over.
I didn't come here to go 5-7.
I'm so proud of Illinois football right now. I'm so tired of Joel Embiid.
We're not taking Patrick Corbin.
I want to bet the Bears.
Oh.
You are Reba McEntire's niece.
Roshan Russell.
Coach Bielma.
You no longer here. Salute to yourself.
What?
We got all kinds of things for you here.
There's a lot of glass.
Oh.
Guys, we have breaking news.
Uh-oh.
It's The Drive.
Schmack Dogs.
It is The Drive with Sam Piper, ESPN Radio 93.5. Derek Piper, Lante, Kyle Tosk. Had a nice text from a 217 about how much fun it is listening to The Drive.
Yeah.
Can't share everything with that, but we appreciate you. Appreciate you. We do want to talk a little bit more basketball until transitioning back to football. We're going to play some audio from Dylan Rosiak, also both coordinators Aaron Henry and Barry Lunney Jr. But first, we had a text from Austin.
Ooh, go Stevens first.
Oh, yeah. Steven says, have y'all heard the rumor of a basketball scrimmage with Kentucky? Sorry if y'all have talked about it.
So he uses y'all twice.
I had to.
Which tells me that Steven is from Kentucky. And that's not a bash. I love the way they talk down there.
Never know.
Y'all, are we supposed to be scrimmaging with Kentucky or we got Kansas coming?
No, because if you have, whether it be a closed scrimmage like they have had in recent years, like they did last year in St. Louis with Kansas and in previous years with a variety of other programs, that essentially counts as an exhibition game. You get two of those, whether it's going to be an exhibition game or a closed/secret scrimmage. So Illinois having an exhibition this Friday against Ottawa, then essentially a week and a half later, or from now, I should say, against Kansas. Those are your two allotted opportunities to play somebody else. So that would not be this year if they do go up against Kentucky.
Got it. Makes sense to me. All right, Austin on the U of I Atlanta Lake text line. He says, for Piper.
Okay. Are you hurt by that? Or?
I'm very hurt by that.
Okay.
Considering I'm going to be drinking a beer with him Saturday for homecoming. Is he assuming that there won't be some tension at the tailgate now? We're just assuming that, hey, Lon, I know you do the sports show and everything, but this question specifically
is not for you to weigh in on.
It's not for you to weigh. I don't even want you to look at it.
You can read it, just don't answer it.
Okay.
I'm just kidding.
So Austin, Mr. Soccer, kidding. His son's playing soccer and daughter, I think both. I don't know. Anyway, with the Illini Kansas scrimmage being an organized fundraising event, how much will fans actually be able to see how we stack up against the number one team? I guess
that's a really good question.
To add to that, too, is that they did this last year as a private. Of course, Luke Goody got hurt. So I'm expecting Goody to go for 46 in this one. I mean, this is his revenge tour, begins against Kansas.
Yeah.
But with that being private, yeah, I don't know. I mean, again, I don't know that you know that, but have you heard any rumblings like, hey, we're going to attack this just like we did last year? It's just the difference is there's going to be 14,000 people watching it?
I do know that the stare downs Bryce Harper was giving Orlando Arcia, that's going to be Luke Goody after every 3 to Bill Self. That's what I've heard.
I like it.
He wants to spot up in that corner next to the Kansas bench and like maybe even Steph Curry it. Like before the ball even goes in the basket, just turn around and look at him. But,
yes.
That's what Luke's told me, so that's what I've heard. But, yeah, last year I know that as you try to dig in and, like, you know, what happened in the scrimmage and trying to report on what you heard about it, that they played one full half. So, like, they started out playing essentially a regular game, 20 minutes, like a first half of a regular basketball game. And then after that, they broke it up into 3 different segments, and I think they were 10 minutes each, and they were working on different situational stuff. So it wasn't a full, like, 40-minute up-and-down game.
Got it. Fair.
Admittedly, I haven't heard all of the details on what they plan to do. I do want to ask Brad Underwood that when we get a chance. We'll get a chance actually to talk to him tomorrow, so I can ask him and get you an answer from Brad himself on that. But in talking to some people, I know they've mentioned wanting, as you would imagine, in any exhibition game, scrimmage, you're going to tinker with some different stuff. You're going to play some different lineups. You're going to maybe work on that kind of deal. But I think that what it boils down to me, and I just kind of my understanding of it, you host this kind of crowd, you have this much amped up anticipation for Illinois and Kansas. You got to give the people what they want. You got to play a game. You got to play a game, like flat out. Put 20 minutes on the clock in the first half, take a halftime, 20 minutes on the clock in the second half. It's got to be a real game.
Okay.
In my opinion.
Wow, you think 40 minutes? I was thinking like 20 minutes.
No, I think you go full on 40-minute game, and let's treat this like the real thing for the most part. Now you're gonna get some minutes maybe that would go to your bench, and you might want to look at some different stuff that you wouldn't in a normal game if this thing counted against your resume for or against. But I actually did a little bit of research because I remember Kyle and I actually were having this conversation off the air yesterday. Kansas played a exhibition game, and it was for charity also back in 2017. I forget who it was for. It might have been a hurricane relief one, but they played Missouri. Kansas and Missouri, of course, a border war rivalry that is goes way back. But they played a full 40-minute, just like a normal game, 2 halves, exhibition game. Kansas won 93-87. And you look at the box score, and the starters played like normal minutes. Like you look at Devontae Graham, who was a All-American type of point guard for Kansas. He played 35 minutes, scored 25 points.
Holy cow!
Malik Newman, 28 minutes. You got Udoka Azubuike, the big man that used to play for the Jayhawks, 27 minutes, and they only went 8 deep. They had 8 guys playing that game. Missouri played a little bit more guys off the bench.
Okay.
Our old friend Jeremiah Tillman only logged 13 minutes, and then I went and looked, and I was like, he must have been in foul trouble. Do you know how many fouls he had?
None.
7.
Oh, 7?
Yeah. Apparently decided not to foul him out, but he only played 13 minutes with 7 fouls. So knowing that Bill Self's been in one of these before, he's been in, like, obviously, again, Kansas-Missouri is a game that had probably a lot of hype. Those teams played each other all the time when they were both back in the Big 12, and since then don't get an opportunity to because of Missouri moving to the SEC. But knowing what the expectations are around the game, and I think you just got to play a game. And I think I would be surprised if it's not that same way with Illinois and Kansas. Is 40-minute game. Yes, you're going to play some different lineups, but let's go and let's see what it looks like.
Will they? Is this the kind of thing that, let's say Bill Self, or no, let's say Brad Underwood says, okay, Bill, we struggled last year from deep. Go zone against us a couple of times and see how we can run a zone offense. I mean, maybe not during that game, but like when they break out for their 10-minute or whatever sessions where they're kind of scrimmaging and doing stuff.
If they do, I don't know if they'll do that.
But yeah,
I think they might just play straight up 40-minute game. Maybe he asked Bill. I'm sure there's conversations about certain things if they want to treat it that way. Maybe they just want to treat it like game prep. They want to say, okay, let's hand each other. I don't know if Kansas, similar to Illinois, has an exhibition game before this. I'd have to maybe effort that. But maybe we scout each other like a normal game. We hand our players a normal scouting report. We go through practices like this is a normal game, and maybe we don't tell each other, a ton in terms of like we want to see this or that, or maybe they do. Maybe they want to see that. Maybe Brad will say, "Can you throw some zone at us a couple of possessions just to see how we handle it?" That wouldn't shock me at all if they did that.
Is the crush going to be in full force, Kyle?
Oh, for sure.
Okay, all right.
Hunter Dickinson's coming to town. Of course they are.
Oh, my Lord, I forgot about that.
This is Crush Christmas.
Dude, I totally forgot about that. I don't know why I went Spicoli on you there, but I forgot all about that. Okay. And this is 8 days away?
It's the 29th.
11.
So 11 days
yeah.
away.
Not that Kyle's counting.
No, not that he's counting at all.
No.
I'm excited about this, man. I can't believe they're playing in 2 days. That just
Neither can I. No. Are you getting BTN Plus to watch this thing?
We're going to have to start getting our schedule out and figuring out when Pipes is going to be gone.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to have to start looking ahead here because you're going to be traveling quite a bit. Well, let's hope Illinois football takes down Wisconsin to get to 4-4 and keeps that season going, right? I said maybe it seems like every year that there's that big win that Brett Bielema's squad has where you don't expect it. And even the Michigan game last year, you didn't win, but you should have. I mean, we got screwed. So all three of those on the way. And then it seems like there's always the one, oh, what if? So like you're sitting at 7 and whatever this year, and you're like, what if we just would have beaten Nebraska? But the good news is the what if, to me, gets X'd out because you won at Maryland. Because you're not supposed to win at Maryland. So in my mind, I'm deleting both. Like they cancel each other. So if Illinois can get to 4-4 and keep that going, then you've got basketball. Oh, be a good time to be an Illini fan.
No doubt about it. If this team can find a way to still get to like 7 wins,
yes,
I still think it's pretty improbable. I don't know if pretty is the right way to say it, but I don't know. What do you guys think? I would say 6 wins very much on the table.
I mean, the two games that I would have said you are not winning would be Wisconsin and Iowa.
Yeah.
And both of them are without their starting quarterback now. And at least one of those is here in Wisconsin. Now, I still think that Iowa game will be tough sledding, obviously. But Minnesota, for some reason, Brett Bielema's squads play really well against Minnesota. They kind of owe you. PJ kind of owes you now. I mean, he was the saddest guy in the world when Lovie Smith quit, as Tom Izzo was with John Gross. I mean, those two guys, they were like, oh, you don't have to leave. Or was that Bruce?
He was mad about Bruce getting fired.
That's right. That's right. But, I mean, as you look at it now, I mean.
Watch him stand up for Ben Johnson this year. I just want to say, no one asked me, but to those in Minneapolis, Ben's doing a hell of a job. It'd be stupid to move away from him.
And I would, hell, he's saying it about Juwan Howard. Yeah. Listen, even after they lost to Nebraska and I was at the lowest point I can be this season of Illinois football, I still thought we beat Indiana and Northwestern. I know Northwestern kind of had a couple of games where they're like, they look pretty.
I thought for sure Indiana.
Yeah.
But then I told myself there was nothing for sure left.
Right. But now you're back on the, those two for sure. And then you kind of have 3 games of Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Iowa. Now, Minnesota's on the road. That makes that one tough. Iowa's Iowa, and it's on the road, even without their starting quarterback. And then Wisconsin is playing as well as anybody in the West, but they just lost their starting quarterback. So
I could still convince myself that Northwestern's a little, we'll see.
Yeah, we should beat them. I mean, you could literally still win 7 games.
You could.
I mean, you could win more than that, but
I think
they could still get to 7. And
yeah,
I don't know how I'd feel about that. Like last year, I felt like they were a really good team. You had 3 guys drafted from your secondary. You had a kid competing for a Heisman Trophy. You had a quarterback that set records for completion percentage. And I'm not knocking this team this year, but this team doesn't feel anywhere close to being as good as last year's team. So
they're not.
So if last year went 8-5 or whatever, and you were just like, holy crap, this is a really good Illinois football team. If this team goes 7, and let's say this team wins 7 and wins their bowl game, and they're 8-5, I will be happy as a lark. Are larks that happy, like when they say that?
I'm not sure I know what a lark is.
I don't either. I think it's a bird. But the point is, like, can you imagine both teams being 8-5 and you're sitting there going, are you all of a sudden Iowa?
Not a bit.
Because like Iowa wins 8 games every freaking year or more, and there's got to be times where the fans are like, that was not a good team. But somehow we won 8. I mean, like this year, somehow we're going to win 11, and we're not very good.
That reminds me of ugly as sin, but a dang good cook.
Ever had her food?
The yak woman? You ever seen her? Anyways.
Preparing for his future.
It's
college? No, Carnival.
Carnival. Must be proud.
That there's an RV. But don't you be we're taking that with us when we leave in 2 months. It's about time to get Christmas vacation.
It's getting close. It's getting close.
Man, that's a good follow on Twitter, by the way. Because they'll just
there's a Christmas vacation account?
There is, and they just throw out all the, I can't even think of a line right now. Well, we just said 100 of them, but they'll throw a line out a couple times a day, and it just makes me smile.
I like it.
I just smile.
Last note, I know we got to catch a break here. We're going to hear from Dylan Rosiak, linebacker, who's been playing well for the Illini, and then both coordinators. It's hard to know how to feel because still the overwhelming majority, if you were to stack up the games, is that last week was by far and away the exception versus what we've seen from this team. When you look at the fact of non-competitive late against Purdue, non-competitive late against Kansas, non-competitive late against Nebraska, even as much as they tried to make you competitive. Penn State, I mean, the defense showed up, but non-competitive late against that team. Should have lost to Toledo. I think that's hard to balance. Like, has this team figured out enough to now they're gonna be that team that we saw on Saturday against Maryland?
Right.
Or was that the one-off? Did Maryland lay that big of an egg and there's going to be the humbling coming up on Saturday, and Wisconsin with the backup quarterback beat you? So I think that's kind of a push and pull probably inside a lot of Illini fans' minds right now. I know that for me, trying to figure out who I'm going to pick, that's something that I'm stuck on.
Yep, I'm with you. What about you, Kyle? I mean, that's kind of it's. I kind of want to try to figure out if I can learn this team this week, but there again, yeah, I don't know, Kyle.
I mean, I'm being very cautious about how I feel because I totally agree with that point in that we've had 7 games of football played so far. 6 of the 7, you haven't been very inspiring. And now it's a big win against Maryland, and it could lead to a turnaround, but I got to see that happen. I think this Saturday will tell me a lot. If they can carry that forward and put together a repeat performance, beat Wisconsin, then I'm fully convinced. You're beating Indiana, you're beating Northwestern, you're beating Minnesota.
Yeah.
You might get to 7. You could run the table.
Okay.
If they lose to Wisconsin again, it's like, okay, well, that Maryland game was just their upset that happens in college sports, and they're still a 4-win team.
And it's amazing you did that upset with so many really good players hurt, or some of your best players hurt.
Yeah.
I mean, did Maryland just literally play the worst game they can? I don't know. Like, who's their coach now all of a sudden?
Mike Locksley.
Mike Locksley said before the game, Illinois worries, and every coach says this, but I liked what he said, and it rang true. He's like, we are an offense that hits on big strikes. We don't just methodically move down the field. We hit big pass plays, big runs. And he said, Illinois doesn't give that up. They're not the kind of defense that gives that up. And they didn't. There were a couple of deep passes that were knocked away, but Illinois kind of held true to what Locksley said in the sense that they don't give up big plays. They're going to give up yards. They're going to give up things, but they're not giving up that big play. And I feel like Mike Locksley almost like hexed himself or jinxed himself. Although he knows his team. And he's like, look, Illinois,
yeah,
they don't give up that big play, and that worries me.
Yeah.
And certainly I think the weather probably played into that too.
Bit.
I mean, it's almost like it's the reverse of last year. I'm going to go with that theme until it's not. Last year, Illinois had everything rolling, and the weather was like the 2 worst Saturdays we've had. Probably since the Saturday before, knowing where we live. But it was like almost like we couldn't throw the ball. Well, that should have helped us, but it didn't. And just weird stuff. Like, just give me a regular 70-degree day and let the teams play and see who the best team wins. But I don't know. Now, all of a sudden, I think the weather kind of affected Maryland, and I don't know. We'll see.
What say you on the U of I Atlanta League text line, where you're at with this team and how you feel coming up on Saturday? We'll talk more about that as we go along. Dylan Rosiak coming up after the break, as well as Aaron Henry and also Barry Lunny. Stick with us. This is The Drive.
Hi, it's Stevie J. So I took my mom into Audibel, owned by Jeff Hanley, who owns 13 locations around central Illinois. She's had so much trouble hearing for so long. Audibel, AUDIBEL, for hearing. And some of the new technologies, they've got AI now for some of these hearing aids, and they're virtually invisible. It's unbelievable, and it helped my mom. It helped her incredibly. We've been to other places. This is by far the best place I've ever been in for hearing help. Go to audibelteam.com. That's AUDIBEL. If you want more information about Audibel and how Jeff Hanley and his amazing culture and amazing team that they have, go to audibelteam.com. That's AUDIBEL, audibelteam.com. You'll be so happy you found Audibel. Amazing work. They got a location in Champaign. Go to audibelteam.com. That's audibelteam.com.
Build strength and endurance in a high-energy fun fitness class with the Urbana Park District. Work It Circuit runs Tuesdays and Thursdays at the Phillips Recreation Center. Classes are between 5 and 5:50, October 24th through December 14th. Each session takes you through a full-body workout with a mix of resistance training and high-energy aerobics. No experience is necessary, and people of all abilities are welcome. Instructors can modify the class to meet your needs. For details, visit urbanaparks.org.
You moved into your new home using 2 men in a truck. The garage was clean. Then,
I love the new recliner. What are we going to do with this old one?
Put it in the garage for now.
over time, this cycle continued.
Garage for now. Put it in the garage for now. Put it in the garage for now. Put it in the garage for now.
It happens. You got junk. Call 2 Men in a Truck to get rid of all your junk. Residential or commercial, 2 Men in a Truck has a solution for your junk removal. Contact them at 2menchampagne.com.
2 Men in a Truck.
Kelsey Furniture in downtown Tuscola sells Tempur-Pedic beds. What's it like?
I'm going to tell you right now, Stevie, that thing is the best thing I've ever slept on in my life. My wife and I both have said we've never had better night's sleep. And the people at Kelsey's were fantastic. Brian is the guy that helped us. You know, as much as I did my research, he has a world of knowledge about beds themselves. Oh, man, it's like sleeping on a cloud, man.
Kelsey Furniture, downtown Tuscola.
Local, personal, trusted. Hi, this is Todd Durakan with First Federal Savings Bank of Champaign-Urbana, and we've been serving Champaign County since 1908. Our institution is safe, strong, and stable. We operate on a foundation of responsible and sound practices, and you can rest easy knowing we're your bank. Rated 5-star superior by Bauer Financial Inc., fast, friendly, and local, with local loan decisions and underwriting. If you're not already banking with us, give us a try, and we think you'll love it here. First Federal Savings Bank, 356bank.com, member FDIC, equal housing lender, NMLS 435120.
Hey, it's Stevie J. We have a Stever offer for you today, and I hope you'll take advantage of an opportunity to take my money in our Stever program and go to Pard's Western Shop and shop. Pard's is in Urbana, 306 North Maple. It's between Main and University, and it's been around there for 1968. So you're looking for boots. There's no other place in the world you can get as good a quality boots as Pard's in Urbana. You got women's wear, men's wear, you got kids, you got hats, saddles. What are you looking for? Pard's is wonderfully, incredibly appointed with people that help you with finding what you want. You want to support local, support Mark and Angie and the wonderful people at Pard's. They're terrific. So I'm giving out $50. Would you like it? $50 bills. I'm throwing them out the window to you. Go to Pards in Urbana. You have 7 days to use this, and then you have to fill out your survey. Pards is our Go Stever offer. Go to GoStever.com, GoStever.com.
Hi, this is Kirk Lehman with Aftershock Decals and Design. And right now we are looking for an honest, hardworking individual that wants a career with Aftershock Decals and Design. If you have any kind of experience wrapping vehicles, tinting windows, we want you.
You can't touch this.
No, not that kind of wrapper.
Can't touch this.
Please go to our website at AftershockDD.com, click on the Jobs tab, and send in your resume. We want you. AftershockDD.com.
Looking for a place to host a corporate meeting, intimate gathering, or a large-scale celebration? If so, the University of Illinois' Alice Campbell Alumni Center offers the perfect space and staff to make your function a success. A few rooms offered at the center include the Elegant Ballroom, the Richmond Family Gallery, and the Premier and Professional Executive Boardroom. For more information on renting a space at the Alice Campbell Alumni Center, visit uiaa.org/alumni-center or call 1-800-355-2580. Go Illini.
When it comes to finding a reliable vehicle, look no further than Sarah Champagne, your trusted automotive destination. They carry a lineup of top brands including Honda, BMW, Subaru, GMC, and Buick. And they're not just about cars, they're about people. Their team is dedicated to providing you with trustworthy service and dependable vehicles that fit your lifestyle. Experience the difference at Sarah Champagne. Visit Sarah, S-E-R-R-A, champagne.com.
Short-term market fluctuations can be unnerving for everyone. A proven way to tune out the noise and focus on long-term investment goals is to adhere to a well-constructed investment plan. This is Eric Boland with Provident Financial Group. If you don't have a plan in place, we can help create one designed specifically for you. Call us today for a complimentary consultation. Contact us at 217-366-3456 or find us online at providentfinancialgroupllc.com.
Securities and advisory services offered through Commonwealth Financial Network, member FINRA, SIPC, a registered investment advisor.
Hey, Illini fans, it's Mike Greenberg. Catch Lon Tay and Derek Piper weekdays from 4 to 6 right here on ESPN Radio 93.5.
Back on the drive with Sam Piper, ESPN Radio 93.5. Let me remind you once again, come join us out at Pia's coming up on Friday, beginning at 3 o'clock. Also, a note on here that I'm glad Diane reminded me of. There's going to be a fan bus. Friday night. If you want to come hang out with us, enjoy some drinks, some food, and then go get a bus over to State Farm Center to enjoy the Illinois and Ottawa exhibition game.
I love it.
Make sure to come hang out with us.
I tell you
Friday,
what, they know how to
West Springfield Avenue.
They know how to take care of fans at Pia's, right?
Absolutely.
They understand that we want to have a couple. So they're like, well, listen, have your fun. We're going to bus you to the game and back.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. That's brilliant.
That's awesome. That should be a good time, and hopefully Illini fans are hoping Saturday is a good time when the Badgers come to town and to go up against Braylon Allen and that offense. Illinois' linebacker play, which at times has been leaving a lot to be desired, especially I think earlier in the season against Kansas,
no doubt,
and whatnot. But Dylan Rosiak has really stepped up for this squad. You look at the fact of the Maryland game, 8 tackles, forced fumble, had a forced fumble against Purdue as well, 10 tackles against Nebraska. He's played some really good football, and he's a key for Illinois defensively going forward. And he spoke to the media today. Was that Kyle? Was that today?
That was today.
It was today.
All right. He spoke to the media today and wanted to get you some of that. So here is Illini linebacker Dylan Rosiak.
These last few weeks, putting up a lot of numbers, playing well. What's your confidence? Like, how's your confidence maybe grown from that first week to where you are now in this role?
Right. I think, first week, stepping into it is kind of just like, I wouldn't say that I, wasn't confident or anything, but I think after, getting a few games under your belt, you kind of understand, like, all right, this is the flow of things, and you kind of just settle in. You know what I mean?
What's kind of been for you the key to finding out how to settle in, like in the Big Ten levels, a regular starter or rotation guy?
Right. I think there was kind of the first few games were kind of like a teaching experience, and like where I excel, you know, where I needed to, you know, focus, and I think it came down to just settling into the scheme, understanding where I needed to be, and then where I could go out and make my own plays, you know what I mean?
I know we had talked so much in the fall about you and Kanena kind of coming in together, but what's it like to be in these moments with him and kind of have the role that you guys have on this defense?
It's awesome. Like, yeah, coming in at the same time and kind of getting the opportunity to start playing together at the same time and making plays out there together it's an awesome experience.
What goes into the punch? Seems like you've got that figured out a little bit. What's the key there?
I started working on that at high school a little bit, but yeah, I think it's just looking for the opportunities and then taking the opportunities when they come. You know, you can't be always punching that ball and break a knuckle.
Yeah. What have you learned just about yourself as a player, especially over these last 3 or 4 weeks?
I wouldn't say I've really learned much about myself. It's kind of just, like I said, kind of like falling into the system, seeing like not only making the plays I'm supposed to make, but, you know, helping here and there, you know what I mean? Just kind of like coming in, you know what I mean?
I know when you came out, like there was so much like, oh, I'm into the Hansen family, but like you see it a little bit, like in similarities with the way Jake played here and the way you play. Like, did you study him at all, or like what's the relationship there?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely watched him growing up. He went to the same high school, like seeing him growing up, like hanging around the family. But yeah, I think we just have similarities that cross over. His dad coached me for a year or two, so maybe that's coming to something. But no, just an amazing player who obviously you want to take pieces of his game and implement it into yours. And anybody who's taking the ball away is going to help the team win. So obviously wanted that piece in my game.
What do you make about? I mean, the last time we talked to you, you were pissed off. What do you make about the way the defense and really the team as a whole is kind of rounded after a frustrating few weeks there?
Right. I think the defense has continued to grow every week. I think. You know, some games earlier we were playing where one quarter we were lights out and another quarter you don't know where we went. So I think continuing to improve on that has been amazing. And I think as a team, I think we're starting to play really good complementary football, which is, you know, parlaying us into wins. So
I don't know if there's maybe one moment for you or a series of moments that you maybe felt like settled in, I guess, as a full-time guy on this deal. Is there anything like that for you that you can look back and say, you know, it will take a breath after that play or that moment?
No, not in particular. I kind of just, I guess, coming in after a few of those games, you know, and just like, all right, like I'm here, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like this is for me.
Sounds like a cool dude.
Yeah, for sure. 100%. Got to preserve the knuckles sometimes.
You know, he definitely is one guy that benefits from a law firm, right?
100%.
With those guys being able to take up a lot of offensive linemen and kind of make some clean tackles, as Jay Lehman would say, for a guy like Rosiak. But you needed him to step up. And linebacker, like you said going into it, was a big question mark. And I'm not saying it's answered. Right. But you needed guys like him to step up and kind of take that next step as a sophomore, essentially, and he's doing that. I think he's playing pretty well.
Yeah, I mean, I mentioned it with Jay on Monday, the fact of making kind of that open field tackle against Talia on kind of that zone read.
Exactly.
And could have broke it for a big play and a run that, you know, was a game changer if he goes in the end zone, and all of a sudden you're chasing late in that ball game. But missed tackles were a huge issue for this defense a handful of weeks ago. They got to make sure that doesn't sprout back up against Wisconsin and obviously a team that likes to run in Minnesota, Iowa, on down the line. But Rosiak's been playing well, and it's good, obviously, to give him his due for that. Shout out also to our boy Joey Wagner, Illini Inquirer, for
ticked off, he said,
for carrying that one. How about Aaron Henry as we focus and zoom out a little bit? Defense as a whole going into Wisconsin. Let's get the thoughts of the Illini defensive coordinator going into Saturday's game.
Coach, what do you know about their quarterback situation, and does it change how you game plan for this week at all?
No, because the backup, he can throw it, man. I think it's Braden Locke. I think that's his name, if I'm not mistaken. But I know Coach Longo recruited him out of high school. I know he had a chance to go to UNC and end up going to Mississippi State. And I know that when he got in the game, the offense did not change. right? The kid has a cannon. He can let it fly. Obviously, that sucks for Tanner Mordecai, man. I mean, he was having a really good year. I was really looking forward to going against him. He's a really good competitor. You can tell their offense was clicking on all cylinders because of him, just because of the way he's able to kind of make things go, and he was throwing it around, he was handing the ball off, he was running the ball. I mean, he did some everything. And so I know it's going to be a tough challenge for them, right? They got a newer guy coming in, but that's Coach Longo's system, and it's not predicated around one player, but I do know that the operation of what the quarterback does is massive. But this young man, he can let it fly. He can throw it. He runs really well. I mean, I don't foresee it being much of a drop off in terms of what they're going to ask him to do. Obviously, he hadn't taken as many snaps, but I'm going to prepare for him like Tanner Mordecai was quarterback.
And what did you learn about Tyler Strain, who maybe lost that starting job and then gets thrown in, bigger receiver, and makes some really critical plays there?
Tyler, as I've always said, Tyler's extremely resilient. During the week of practice, is with all our young defensive backs, we try to put them in a pressure cooker, man. We try to make it so that it's really tough and really challenging for them in practice. And when games come, they're a little bit easier. I will say this, our offensive look team may be one of the best look teams in the country. The look that Colin Dixon is given, right? The look that Capka Jones is given, Ian Pugh, Weston Adams. They do a phenomenal job in trying to replicate a lot of these wideouts. And so that was partially a testament to what Tyler was seeing all week in practice. And then obviously his opportunity came, and that just speaks to him. That speaks to kind of the culture that we're constantly developing, right? You don't know when your number's going to be called, right? You may not go in as a starter, but when your number's called, you got to be ready. And I think, right, it happened to Tyler last year, it happened to him this year, right? I know everybody wants to walk out there and take the first snap, right? So they can say that they're a starter, but he played more snaps than any other guys who was in rotation with him. So in my mind, he is a starter. Right. Although he didn't take the very first snap, I'm just extremely proud of him, the way he responded, the way he handled things, how he tried to coach the younger guys up. That's always really good to see, and that's typically a sign that you got a very special program.
I know you switched up the defensive front a little bit.
Find the career you want and the work-life balance you need. Immediate openings are now available with RPC's Early Childhood Education Program in Champaign County. New competitive wages, Monday through Friday schedule, weekends, and 17 paid holidays, health insurance, pension, sick and vacation time, free training, and tuition. It's the perfect opportunity to ignite your career in the early childhood education field. Visit the Regional Planning Commission's Early Childhood Education Program now. ccrpc.org/jobs.
Hi, I'm Tyler Weaver, president of Carpet Weaver's Flooring and Furniture Gallery. Take a look around your home. Is it finally ready for some much-needed updates? If you don't know where to start, then just meet with one of our experts. We'll help you find the perfect waterproof plank floor for your kitchen or that stain-resistant, super soft carpet for your bedroom. Finish your room update with a custom sofa and chairs, or choose a trendy in-stock dining set that's priced right. Come home to Carpet Weavers, where floors, furniture, and family meet.
PDR Automotive has now been serving the Champaign-Urbana area for over 50 years. To give you some perspective, 50 years ago ended the U.S. involvement in the Vietnam War, and it was when Secretariat won the Triple Crown. So what does that mean for you and your vehicle? Whether you need a carburetor overhauled or your new vehicle computer system diagnosed or programmed, PDR Automotive has the experienced, knowledgeable staff that can handle all your automotive needs. Online at pdrauto.com, they are what's best for your truck or car. They are PDR.
Everybody needs insurance, and that's why I love Kyle Lewis at Insurance Providers Group. This is Jay Lehman, All-American linebacker. Kyle provides auto, life, health, and all kinds of commercial lines of insurance. They are my one-stop shop for all my insurance needs, and all my rental properties are insured by IPG. That's why you need to email Kyle at IPGINS.com. Kyle at IPGINS.com.
Hi, it's Stevie J. So I took my mom into Audibel, owned by Jeff Hanley, who owns 13 locations around central Illinois. She's had so much trouble hearing for so long. Audibel, AUDIBEL, for hearing. And some of the new technologies, they've got AI now for some of these hearing aids, and they're virtually invisible. It's unbelievable, and it helped my mom. It helped her incredibly. We've been to other places. This is by far the best place I've ever been in for hearing help. Go to audibelteam.com. That's AUDIBEL. If you want more information about Audibel and how Jeff Hanley and his amazing culture and amazing team that they have, go to audibelteam.com. That's AUDIBEL, audibelteam.com. You'll be so happy you found Audibel. Amazing work. They got a location in Champaign. Go to audibelteam.com. That's audibelteam.com.
You moved into your new home using 2 men in a truck. The garage was clean. Then,
I love the new recliner. What are we going to do with this old one?
Put it in the garage for now.
over time, this cycle continued.
Garage for now. Put it in the garage for now. Put it in the garage for now. Put it in the garage for now.
It happens. You got junk. Call 2 Men in a Truck to get rid of all your junk. Residential or commercial, 2 Men in a Truck has a solution for your junk removal. Contact them at 2menchampagne.com.
2 Men in a Truck. Hi, this is Chris Jackson with Kramer Siding and Window. And whatever your project, you can count on Kramer Siding to offer you the best products backed by the best warranties in the business, as well as Central Illinois employees dedicated to providing you with professional installation and a lifetime of great customer service. And right now, you can save 10% on roofing, sunrooms, and decks, get 15% off gutter helmet, and you can save 25% on preservation siding, windows, and doors. So call today or visit us at kramersiding.com and let's get started on your project.
Here's what somebody recently said at Pards in Urbana. I was there just a few minutes, and somebody came up and asked if I needed help. And they were incredible, helped me find the size of boot I needed, and then I bought a second pair too. Everything was friendly, everything was excellent. Visit Pards in Urbana, 206 North Maple, between Main and University in Urbana. It's Pards Western Shop since 1968. Or go online and visit pards.com, pards.com.
Here's your OSF Healthcare Medical Minute.
Hi, I'm JT Barnhart, the president of OSF Heart of Mary Medical Center. I want to start by just thanking our providers and our staff, our mission partners at the hospital for the great care that they take of our community in providing the services. One of the new offerings that we have coming up in the next couple of months, we've recruited an interventional pain provider who will be able to do some of those injections and procedures to help people who are struggling with long-term pain. In conjunction with that, we have an orthopedic spine surgeon that will work together with the interventional pain provider to really offer a robust spine pain service for the community of Champaign-Urbana and the surrounding areas. We have also brought in a brand new open heart surgeon. He is doing a really good job, really helping us expand our heart program to be a more regional heart institute at OSF in Urbana. And so I want to just continue doing the great things that we're doing around our cardiac program to offer a great service for the community.
For more information, visit osfhealthcare.org.
Hi, it's Stevie J. Sit back and relax and take the drive with Lonte and Derek Piper. Weekdays 4 to 6 right here on ESPN Radio 93.5.
How is our sweet tea power rankings coming?
Oh.
We got to get that done.
Did you hear any more from people yesterday?
No.
Okay. I think we gave them the only two.
McDonald's and McAllister's. We got to deliver Luke Altmaier some more sweet tea recommendations.
Where is McAllister's?
I don't know. No, that's down on, is it off of Prospect?
Oh, is it?
Or maybe Neal.
Okay.
Out by the mall? If I'm not mistaken.
Oh, yes. Yep, you're right. You're right. I know where it's at.
If you're making your trip to Kohl's,
yes,
you're probably going to go buy McAllister's.
Hell yes.
I think.
After I go check TJ Maxx.
There you go.
If Lon needs some slacks or some new shorts, although these shorts that I have now worn 98% of my life for 2 years. I wear these every day. I'm sorry. I'm just going to throw it out there. That's what I do. I wash them 3 times a week, but I wear it because they fit my tummy well. They kind of expand. So they are so dirty. Like I washed these last night and they're still dirty. That's how, they have held up through thick and thin, and they were like $90 golf shorts at Dick's. So I paid the price for them, but now, 2.5 years later, they've literally paid me to wear them, is what they've done. So, but yeah. I don't even know where I was going there.
I think we were talking about TJ Maxx.
Oh yeah, but
Kohl's.
I'm not afraid to go to TJ or Kohl's.
Scott mentions Cracker Barrel maybe for some sweet tea. Big Def says get a bunch of McDonald's sweet teas and put Bojangles sticker on each bottle. Might do the trick.
That would do the trick for him.
Hey, if he leads you to a homecoming win against Wisconsin, I'd say it'd be worth it. That was a nice performance for him.
Yes, it was.
On the whole, against Maryland, as Jay talked about. Still some things for him to clean up in terms of some short and manageable throws and not holding on the ball too long. And then, of course, if you have that running game going like you did this past weekend with Caden Fagan and company, that's definitely a good thing to build on. So where does Barry Lunney Jr. and company go from here? He spoke to the media earlier this week as well before Wisconsin.
Barry, could you walk us through the decision in that timeout to be able to go for the touchdown before the half and how that came about for you?
Well, I mean, as the offensive coordinator, it's our job to score touchdowns, and we're pretty close to scoring a touchdown, and we were starting with the ball in the second half, and I believed in our players, and I believed in what we had planned to get the ball in, and I believed in how we were playing, and so just voiced my opinion to coach, and we just kind of talked through it. The timeout obviously gave us the opportunity to kind of rethink it, and it turned out to be a good decision because our guys went and executed and did what they were supposed to do.
Barry, what can that do for you guys as an offense? I mean, that's a position you guys have struggled in recently. To have the confidence in you and Brett to go for it and succeed, what ramifications can that have confidence?
Well, I think it should have a lot of ramifications in a strong way for our team. And we got put in the situation the week before and came up short, and really, honestly, to a large degree, felt really good about the call and felt good about what we were about to do, and we just didn't quite get it done. And to go and to plan and practice with your coaches and to say, hey, here's what we're going to do, and here's how we believe we're going to punch the ball in a critical moment in the goal line. We felt like getting in being in the sidecar, had the Luke's, opportunity to move and run, keep the balls is to our advantage, and and we executed the call perfectly and rolled them off the ball and punched it in, and it was huge for the outcome of the game.
What was different just overall in the game with your run game execution, and what does that do for you as an offense and as a play caller when your run game's effective?
Well, yeah, I mean it makes life better. It makes it flow better. When you're falling forward, and you're running the ball with some effectiveness, which we were. Had very few. I can't remember off the top of my head, but had very few lost yardage runs. Most of the things were moving forward, which was a testament to our line covering them up pretty well, and then our backs falling forward. And so when you can run the ball and rely on getting 3 and 4 yards on early downs when you want to hand the ball off, it makes things a lot easier. I thought obviously. From a confidence standpoint, I mean, I was probably the best that we've run the ball, from a consistent basis, and something certainly to build off of.
You mentioned you knew you're going to get the ball back to start the second half. What can a successful kind of double dip there do for a team?
Well, I mean, obviously any Big Ten game and those possessions are so, and just in football in general, possessions are so vital, and to be able to score touchdowns on back-to-back possessions. Obviously was a huge, I don't know what the percentages are. Coach makes a big deal of it, and we do in our organization, but I would say when you double dip with 2 touchdowns in football, your percentages of winning the game are probably through the roof, would be my guess. And I know they are. I just don't know what those numbers are, but it's a really strong indicator you're going to win the game. If you can score right before halftime and then turn around and have 14 points put on the board for the other team touches the ball, it's a big deal.
What are some unique challenges against the Wisconsin defense this week? They got really good players and they have a really good scheme. They're like most of our Big Ten foes, are. They believe in what they do defensively, even though it's a new coaching staff and a new scheme. There's a lot of carryover from what they've done previous years in the personnel. They brought some new faces in as well, but they're a big, stout, strong defense that's playing very well. So there's a lot of challenges.
Barry, I think I counted on Saturday 30 times. You guys, the person who touched the football, batter who touched the football, center, quarterback, whatever skill guy, was none of them were over 20 years old. And I'm just curious, when you watch the film, you notice that, like, is there something about the youth movement that you coach differently a little bit and just have to keep in the back of your mind when you have this much youth out there?
You know, this point in the season, I mean, I think we kind of talked about that last week a little bit. I think I don't really necessarily see it through that lens, you know, because I felt like our guys were prepared to go play the game plan, no matter what, you know, what experience level they were. And I think that showed. I think Thad had those young backs really prepared, and that showed during the game. I mean, the protection, Aiden Lawfrey on the first touchdown pass, tracking the backer and protecting, Caden running a check down on all go in the 2-minute drive and making 10 yards, a subtle play that not many people pay attention to, but that was an awesome release by him and check down. Like, as a veteran, they played like veterans to a large degree, and I felt that in practice and their preparation. Now, when you step back and look at it from your question, your perspective, it's pretty impressive for them to do what they did, you know. But you're talking about the battery with Kreutz and with Luke and, you know, with those young guys, and that's, you know, whether you're young or old, it's this time of year, you're not new anymore. You know, you're going into week 8. You're not a newcomer anymore. And I thought all of those guys handled themselves like veterans. And Saturday, it's one of the reasons we won the game.
What stood out about Caden and Aiden and how they handled that moment in that game?
What about them?
What stood out about them?
I mean, just they fell forward. You know, I mean, obviously Caden did, but even Aiden was running and falling forward. I mean, that catch he made at the end of the game was huge, and the way he fell forward and fought for those extra yards with ball security, the way he protected the passer. I mean, they played, you know, they played like seasoned players that was not their first time when they went in the game knowing I'm the main attraction. You know, I'm not the understudy anymore. I'm the main attraction, and I'm going to be carrying the load of the game, both, you know, metaphorically and physically. You know, and man, they just did a great job. And our team rallied around him. I really believe that.
Good stuff there from Barry Lunney. Will be interesting to see if that offensive line can stack some weeks together, see if they can be productive enough to make this an established, hang your hat on type of running game. And then, of course, can Luke Altmaier in the second half of this season really build towards not only a good finish to this year and put yourself in a position to have a chance at a bowl game, which we thought would have been unlikely a week or so ago, and also for the future, solidifying himself as the answer at quarterback. We'll see how that looks in the coming weeks, starting with this Saturday for homecoming. On that note, we were looking at the weather. 67 degrees, should be pretty nice.
Let's go.
Possibly a little windy, 15 to 25 miles an hour as far as the winds go. I don't know if I wouldn't say that's a no-fly zone in terms of the passing game, but depending on which way it's blowing, maybe the kicking game gets a little interesting.
Yeah.
Like you said off the air, it does seem like that's pretty standard for the wind to be whipping a little bit there in Memorial Stadium.
If we wake up and there's no wind, it's 15 miles an hour.
Yeah.
So I don't think it'll be too bad, you know. Yeah. And the tailgate lots, it'll be cold early, chilly early, but I'd say by, 2:30 game, a lot of people start showing up about 10 or 11. Should be perfect. You know, this is the perfect weather. This is what people want, right? Fall weather. And for some reason, we always go from 84 to 58. But now all of a sudden we got the highest 60s. Come out and enjoy it. It's going to be fun. And even better is tomorrow at Pia's. Let's go.
Well, not tomorrow.
I'm sorry, Friday.
You can go to Pia's tomorrow.
I'll be there. Hell, I'll just go there.
Friday, yes.
Friday. My bad.
Mention that one more time. Starting at 3 o'clock. You know where to find us. 1609 West Springfield Avenue, Pia Sports Bar and Grill. Great drink specials. And a great partner of our show. Terrific place to get a burger, Slugger burger, some chicken fingers, whatever you want, and then obviously a bunch of drink options.
If I'm not here tomorrow, I'm at Pia's.
All right.
I'm just going to warn you.
We'll see where you land on that. We got the homecoming parade at 5:30. We got the pep rally in Grange Grove at 6:30. And if you want to stick around at Pia's, hang out with us, and then take the bus over to State Farm Center. Or you can just camp out at Pia's, really starting from tomorrow through the show, which Lon will be doing, as he says.
Don't be buying Piper beer Friday because he's got to go cover a game. Yeah. But I, on the other hand, am wide open
If it's an exhibition game, it doesn't count.
Yeah, you better
Is it
not.
really a game? No, never mind.
They drink a lot in Ottawa.
I'm just kidding.
Oh, Canada, I mean.
Yeah. All right, we're out.
Oh,
Thanks to absolutely nobody on the Tapman's Towing phone line. Got to make that a staple, guys.
I love it.
Everybody have a great
I gotta
night.
put the actual Conor McGregor in.
Yes.
I'll have that for the next no guest day.
Just like the intro.
Good work.
Oh, just give me one of those as we leave, please.
He's on the board. We're out. It's The Drive.
Crossroads Contractor Supply specializes in the delivery of tools and supplies within a 150-mile radius of Champaign-Urbana. Reliable, timely, and with reasonable prices, Crossroads Contractor Supply knows what equipment and tools are needed for your job. Their slogan, we have it when you need it. Get the job done right with proper tools and equipment. Did something break? Construction materials as well as safety equipment, all available. Call 402-8123. Visit CrossroadsContractorSupplyIL.com.
If you're in the market for a new car battery, you could go to one of those big box stores, except there's no guarantee you'll be served by an actual car expert.
Clean up in aisle 3.
You could pick a battery off the shelf, except it might be close to expiring. Or you could just come into Interstate. Don't make a big box store blunder. With competitive prices and a more personal, reliable approach, Interstate Batteries is the clear-cut choice if you want